to my channel. We're here today to chat a little bit about Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. And if you're like me and had no idea what Claire Keegan looked like, that's her. So this is a small book. It's around 117 pages and it's a small book. So not much story. But despite its brevity, despite its small appearance, they have a saying in Jamaica, "It little but it talawa." This book packs a huge punch. It is set in 1985 around Christmas time when we're following a man named Bill Furlong. We're following a man who's a coal merchant, and it's winter, so people are dependent upon this coal merchant for heat. But you also see a little bit of the decline in their own circumstances, so even people who need heat can't afford to buy the coal, and or pursuing a little bit of why that community is the way it is. So Bill has been doing well enough for himself because he's providing a commodity people can't do without. Even though sometimes they have to take it on credit, they can't do without it. So occasionally he makes money and he has a family. But he grew up as a child of a young mother. His mother was a teenager when she had him. And it's a little bit about how someone helped him and how he wishes he could do something to help other young women, young mothers. And at some point, he finds himself in the position to make a change. But it's something that could impact the rest of his life. So we're reading about a social issue that is very relevant even now. This is something that happened in Ireland in the 1980s, 1990s. They had these church institutions. The Catholic Church had these institutions that were supposed to help young women, help young mothers young women who found themselves being mothers but maybe couldn't necessarily pursue the role to the fullest extent that it requires. Because let me tell you something, guys. Something I found out in the past 3 years: being a mother is a full-time full-time activity. It's all day, it's all night. It's every now and then you get a chance to do something for yourself, but understand that there's always a potential that your kid needs you for something or just wants you for something. But that's an aside. We will talk about that another time. But yeah, in this book, we read about the kindness that's shown to his mother when he was a child. And so this book gives a little bit of the feel of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. It's Bill wanting to give a gift because it's Christmas. He wants to give a gift, but sometimes the gift requires the ultimate sacrifice. And so yeah, I did not know about that history of the church institutions that were supposed to help young mothers and didn't, that was supposed to provide a service, and ended up these women, in order to get one thing or to give one thing, they had to sacrifice almost everything else. So yeah, this book is small, but it packs this huge wallop. But it's also not a perfect book. So this was nominated for the Booker Prize. And from reading a lot of Booker Prize winners, I understand why this book didn't go further. I understand why this book didn't win. It discusses and explores a very significant thing, which is a travesty that is committed against women. Travesty that is committed against women with their reproductive rights. Whether they decide to have a child or not, the decisions should be made by the person whose body it is. But I don't want to get too political in this video. You could tell me in the comments if you disagree. But if you say you're going to help somebody, help them, right? If you say you're going to help them, help them. Don't help them down. Don't say you're going to help them, and then when they have made themselves vulnerable to you, then you take advantage of them. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool. And so we see a little bit of that here. I just feel like maybe the book could have been a little longer. Could have been a lot longer. I feel like we could have explored the backstories a little bit more. This is small things. It's kind of a wisp. It's one of those books that occurs around like a misty wintry time. And I wanted more details. And I feel like if this book had been fleshed out, it could have been so much stronger. It could have packed the wallop that it did. But it didn't. It's a small book. And so you kind of have to imagine some of what happens. You have to imagine the impact of some of the things. Some of the things that are mentioned are just not explored. And so that's why it's not a 5-star for me. I rated it 5-star on Goodreads, but it's a 4.5-star rounded up. But I still loved it. So yeah. Let me know if you've read Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan and what you thought about it. And of course, if you want to talk about my political views in the comments, you're welcome to do that. I welcome your discussion points. And so yeah, until we come back for another video, happy reading.